Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Dr. Lisa Pion-Berlin. I'm the president and CEO of a worldwide organization called Parents Anonymous, Inc. I'm in Claremont, California, which is in Los Angeles County. And my story begins when I was 13 years old, and I prepared for quite a while. I am first generation American in my family. My parents fled from the Nazis, and as a Jew, we studied to Torah, etc., to have a bat mitzvah at 13, which was supposed to be introducing you to womanhood. But at 13, I didn't feel like a woman. And the night before my bat mitzvah, Martin Luther King was assassinated. I lived near Washington, D.C. The city was burning. People were upset, distraught, and I was afraid. People were afraid to go outside. And it was an awakening about how we treat people based on the color of their skin. And I was horrified because I had always been around people of different backgrounds and heard the stories of my family in Europe, being in concentration camps, being murdered, being hidden, fleeing the country. My own parents came here as teenagers. And so I understood about the world of prejudice. But in America, I thought, well, everything's different. These are years and years later. How is this affecting me? So as I dealt with that trauma that was affecting everybody around me, things got canceled. The rabbi said we'd be protected. And I'm thinking, like, what's he talking about? All over the news, there was fires and burning and rioting, and people were mourning the loss of this man who I didn't even quite understand at 13 how important he was. But it was a breaking point for me to sort of realize that life isn't fair and people of different backgrounds are treated in such different ways. So roll forward as I become a social worker myself, a researcher myself, and a mother of two. I got involved as a social worker in running Parents Anonymous 34 years ago. And the reason I got involved was through all my advocacy work, as well as clinical work and my own journey. I saw how the way parents were treated. They were blamed and shamed for everything when their child had a problem. And even if they had a problem, they didn't feel they could tell anybody because nobody would listen to them or nobody would see a way to help them. I became a social worker to help other people. And I grew up in a very privileged world. I went to college. I didn't have to worry about food, clothing, or shelter. But I didn't understand prejudice because even as a young person, as a Jew, people would say disparaging remarks to me, et cetera, about being Jewish or why didn't I celebrate Christmas, et cetera. But becoming a mother and realizing that the whole advocacy and equity issues that I saw, and as a social worker wanted to help people, I realized that the help wasn't available for everybody. It depended who you are. It depended what the color of your skin was. It depended if they thought they were going to blame you for the problem your child has. So if your child has a mental health problem, that doesn't mean that you caused it. We also know in research that there are different things in our brain that go on. There are hormonal situations, there are environmental situations, and parents are not able to prevent everything that goes on with their children, or can you blame them as a cause? And when they're struggling themselves, we need to be there and step up. So in Parents Anonymous, we talk about asking for help as a sign of strength. If we don't make it okay for all of us, as a woman, as a man, as a parent, as a youth, to reach out and ask for help, how's anybody going to feel safe doing it? And today in America, we're struggling with immigration, prejudice from a federal administration. People can't turn around and support other people. People are living without food, living in very dangerous areas where we've had fires that haven't been cleaned up. And so people all around the world, and parents especially, since we all come from parents, if we don't talk about the future depends on parents and we don't support parents, we're not going to have a future. Because I didn't grow my children in the garden and they surely didn't drop from the heavens. They came from my husband and I. They could have come from another couple, but humans make humans. And I think oftentimes in this field, people talk about we're here to help the families or we're going to save that child. It always implies, what do you mean they're saving the child? Are they going to help me because I'm struggling or my child's struggling and I need your help? Meaning, how do we really partner, whether my kids has an educational challenge or a mental health challenge, or you think they're starting to drink alcohol, they should be doing that at their age, and what that does to your brain. They're doing too much social media. There's bullying all around. I mean, all these issues are the pressures on parents. And of course, during COVID around the world, parents were the heroes of the coronavirus because they were at home with these kids. Nobody's paying them, and they're still trying to do their job and earn a living, make food stretch, deal with everybody's anxiety, every child in the household, and generations of the family who couldn't even come in and visit. And all that impact and that social isolation did a number on all of us. So when we talk about having grace for other people and gratitude for life, we need to think about our neighbors, our friends, and how are we taking care of ourselves? And are we imposing these this blame and shame rule? You know, immediately when the teacher calls you and says, your kid's flunking math. Okay, how can we work on that? Your kid's misbehaving in class. How can we work together on that? And if you open the door as a parent or as a teacher or as a provider or as a minister or as a friend or as a colleague saying, hey, you need to seek help. So we started the National Parent Youth Helpline during COVID. We've had a helpline actually at Parents Anonymous since 1969. And 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, people can call it, chat it, text it. We talk to people in 240 languages. There are resources on our website, National Parent Youth Helpline.org. We promote, if you're waiting online, you can listen to meditations in English and Spanish. You can look up resources to connect. People are afraid. And if we don't do anything about overcoming that fear, and it's not like I've not been afraid before. I've personally had cancer twice and had to face that demon. I'm cancer free now. But how I had to interact with the healthcare system and all the different providers and how they talked to me or treated me, I was really surprised. And I sought the people who listened, who cared, and were not pushing me around as a number. Nobody was blaming me for getting breast cancer. But the idea was, how are you serving other people to make them feel they can support? That emotional support is so valuable. Every day we're looking at somebody. When you open the door and help another person, how does it make you feel? It makes you feel good inside. They might smile back at you, they might not. But when we reach out and help others, and in Parents Anonymous, we do a weekly support group. And that's what people do every week for 2 hours. Cry, celebrate, talk about the challenges, and reach out to one another to build a safe community where you can feel trust, even with people you've never met before. That can happen. Just like when you smile at your neighbor or somebody drops their groceries and you pick them up and it makes you feel good. What we believe in Parents Anonymous is what you all already know. In the giving you get. So when you help your neighbor and help others and share your story with others, you're helping the world. And that's the beauty of her story also. And I'm honored to be on here to talk about these things and to look at my own journey in many ways is so helpful. And hopefully it's helpful to others. I'd love to hear from people. Thank you.
Oh, wow, Lisa, thank you so much. It's incredible work that you are doing in this space. It's quite frustrating when parents are not understood. They struggle with the challenges that their children are having, and everybody's doing the best that they can. So, can you share a defining moment early in your career that cemented your passion for child abuse prevention and family advocacy?
Well, I was right out of college, 22 and a half, maybe it was 23. And I was working at a runaway youth shelter in Maryland, right outside of DC. And a young African-American girl, she was about 12, showed up at our door. And what was her story? She had run away from her parents. She lived in a middle-class neighborhood, but it took a while to find out from what was going on. She was being sexually molested by her father, who was a prominent citizen in the community. And I was horrified that nobody had believed this child. She had already, the teachers didn't believe her. The police didn't believe her. Now, this is over 40 years ago. Nobody believed her. And I went to a meeting with I'm the youngest person in the room. I'm talking about cops, the schools, the child welfare system, the mental health system. And they're all talking down about this little 12-year-old girl. She doesn't do well in school. She doesn't pay it all. I said, excuse me, can I say one thing? She is being raped on a weekly basis by her father. Have you actually investigated that? And isn't it absolutely irrelevant that she's not doing good in school because she's a victim of sexual abuse? And I stood up, and these people were horrified. Who is this 22-year-old twit? And I walked out. And then I called her United States congressman, and I reported to them, and I went to the newspapers and reported, and she finally got the help they needed. Now, this was over 40 years ago, okay? So today people aren't believed for their crisis. They're blamed for their crisis, and that was the defining moment. And I said, I am not going to stop. And I had just gotten my bachelor's degree, and I realized a few years later, I'm going to work in this field. It started in sexual abuse. And that was my dissertation, was on sexual abuse too. I couldn't believe people had so much discomfort. They couldn't believe that this stand-up citizen had actually sexually molested his daughter. And he had.
Yeah, and people will avoid talking about these difficult issues just because it's difficult. Your children are suffering because of it.
Right. And also the other thing happens where the color of your skin determines you must be lying. So when parents go to the emergency room, and this has happened many times with Parents Anonymous parents, they went to the emergency room because their child was having a meltdown, and they accused them of abuse and neglect. And they sent the police out numerous times. So a child is suicidal. It doesn't mean the parent did anything. There's no bruises on these children. There's no reporting. They say, I love my mother. I don't know why I want to kill myself. I mean, when people are suicidal, unless they've had an immediate attack or immediate trauma, or there's been a tsunami, something, people don't know why they want to kill themselves, especially if they happen to be 11 years old. Okay. And so instead of working with how can we look at the causes of this and support the parents who need to go home with this child, if they're going to let the child go home, maybe they need to be hospitalized, maybe they need treatment, but all these options, how you talk with those parents and how you work with them shouldn't be based on blame and shame unless you have some evidence. Okay, there's an iron burn here. They couldn't have fallen down if they have nobody's coming to the hospital with their child with an iron burn that they burned their child. Okay, people don't do that. They're on the run. There are people who physically abuse and sexually abuse and molest their children or other kids. That's true, and the police should be investigating that. But there are other parents who are struggling and are so afraid to go to the emergency room that nobody's getting the help they need, and these children could get worse. And the parents are depressed because the school is just calling up, your kid's flunking math. It must be your fault. No, maybe they don't understand math. Maybe they need a tutor. I can't afford a tutor. Are you providing a tutor? I mean, there's so many things. Where is the helping? People talk about kindness and gratitude. I'm saying, well, that's all really nice. But if you're not talking about really effective help, then nobody's going to tell you they have a problem, and you're not going to have any impact on anybody.
Oh my gosh.
And it goes on and on. And Black and brown people in the United States, and I'm sure it's all over the country, are treated differently. When I go to the emergency room with my children, the first thing that I think about is she wants to push them down the stairs. That's how their foot's broken. But if you're Black or brown in this country, the ER, they're thinking you did it before they haven't even investigated it. And that we have over-reporting that's pervasive in the United States. I'm sure it's true all over the country. And teachers over in America, 80% of the teachers reports of suspected child abuse and neglect are unfounded. That means a cop went out, pulled you from your job, investigated you, traumatized you and your children, and it's totally unfounded. Because the schools push the teachers to not create helping systems or link them to services, but cover your butt, excuse my French, cover yourself and just report all these kids. So mom becomes homeless, they're sleeping in the car, the kids comes to school and they're wearing the same clothes 3 days in a row. And the teacher says, what's happening? I don't want to tell you. What's happening? Well, mom lost her job. We got evicted. Okay, let's get you down to the principal's office. We're going to get you services. Not, we're calling the CPS police, the family policing unit, to come out and investigate. And they don't help either. I was just on a call with judges around the country, and they said, oh, we do not remove children from their parents because they're poor. That is absolutely a false truth. That's false. Poverty is not supposed to be an excuse. I mean, a reason to remove them. We're supposed to be helping people who are poor have decent housing, have food, clothing, and shelter. And it's very hard in tough times to support people.
So you created National Parent Leadership Month. Why was this important to dedicate a month to celebrating the leadership of parents?
Well, I think first, Gertrude, is people don't even see parents as leaders. No. We see you as a leader the minute you call us on the helpline or you walk in the door. We call you a parent leader. So you don't even respect the role they have. So celebrating it all during a month, and we say celebrate all year. We get kids involved, celebrate your mom, your dad, your tia, your grandma. Who are you living with? Because for us, it's whoever's raising you. And it could be your boyfriend's girlfriend who raises you. It could be you have multiple people in your life. People have complicated families. How can you look and honor their tireless love and support of you and make them feel like they're not taken advantage of? Yeah. And so when you have a celebration, like you celebrate people's birthday, you celebrate their birth. And they're more than a minute old when you're celebrating it, right? Their first year, the second year, third year, because you're celebrating who they are. And it's a chance for kids and other people to say, hey, look at these amazing parents. Look at what they did when somebody had their house burned down in LA. Look how they came together to pull some clothes together, to give a person a couch to sleep on, to give them, we handed out beanies, blankets, socks in emergency settings in the Palisades and Altadena fires in Los Angeles. People were left with nothing. And they were left like they're standing there. What are they going to do next? So I think that when you try to build community, you can build it around a celebration. So all February, but we tell people it can be your school. There are things on our website. Grab it, share it. There's no money involved. Celebrate the parents in your school, in your community, in your faith community, in your social circles. Reach out and help one of your friends who may be a single parent, who recently got divorced. Build that sense of community and belonging that we all want. We all want that on some level. So people talk about kindness and teaching kindness. Well, that's all really great. But does it come down to actionable interactions? Do you know what I'm saying? And if your friend is struggling, tell them to call the helpline. Call it, chat it, live, chat it, text it. We have people calling on behalf of their other friends. Just 2 days ago, a parent called because her husband committed suicide, and her best friend called them because she has to figure out how she's going to tell her 3 children that their father is gone.
Oh, gosh.
But the mother is struggling so much that her dear friend called us. So we worked with the dear friend to say, what kind of support can you give her now in the future? And how can you encourage the mom to call us before she talks to her child or after she talks to her children or in between or whatever? Because this is a journey that's not going to end. People have life events and they're not just at this moment. It's like the impact is pervasive.
Massive. It is massive.
And I mean, people talk about resilience. I just want to say something about it. Like I see you had like this muscle, and it's like, it's also resilience point 2. There's a very famous neurologist that I follow, and he talked about that when you chase happiness, you're just more unhappy because you are comparing yourself to the whole world. And so resilience is not, okay, fine, I have a plan to take care of this and this. The question is, how can the struggles we have help us be stronger, which is the essence of her story. It's like, you're sharing these struggles. How did it make you stronger? It made me see the light that advocacy is critical to being a human being, not just being a professional social worker, but to being a mom, a woman, a member of the community, that you need to stand up for what you believe in and help others when you can. And
Yeah.
that's a very scary time right now, because when in America, if you intervene and ICE is trying to arrest somebody, you're going to get arrested. You're going to be detained. And that's happened all over the country, many times in Los Angeles and near where I live, where people feel I can't step up. I can't say, hey, wait a minute, you're roughhousing this person, because they're just going to pull you, take
You
you.
found that as well. It is such a challenging time, very, very challenging. So, how do you balance the emotional intensity of supporting families in crisis while staying resilient as a leader? It's got to be difficult.
It is. It is challenging. I meditate regularly.
Mhm.
Like we use meditations in Parents Anonymous groups. While you're waiting on the helpline, you can listen to meditations,
Right.
also that we record. I make sure that I can create a boundary for myself so that every story doesn't bleed into my mind, because I wouldn't sleep for months on end, because you can imagine parents and kids share their horrifying stories all the time with us. So to see a pathway that advocacy can help change those systems, find a pathway for help. It's like the light at the end of the tunnel keeps guiding me, keeps guiding me. You know,
Mm.
when I first started meditating, I used to see this white light above my head, and one of my mentors, one of my guru guiders, and says, well, that's your white light. That's from your crown. Your crown chakra is leading you forward. Keep going. Keep going. And take those breaks when you need to, because nobody is infallible. So making sure that I have downtime, that I go on vacations. I just went away with my husband for 2 weeks, that I, have playtime, that I can't solve the world's problems, tomorrow. And I'm only one person, though I have an organization, and I'm really there to support parents becoming leaders in their own life and helping others. So in a Parents Anonymous group, it's not just the help I got for myself, it's how can I build community and take it outside. And I have known parents for 30 years who are still helping others because of the help they got in Parents Anonymous, because they see the value of reaching out to another person and say, I hear you. I'm here for you. I might not be able to solve all your problems, get you a better job, help you move tomorrow, but I can be here for you, hold space for you,
Yeah.
and value.
No, that's all what people need is just knowing there's someone else out there who's got their back.
And
Now
it's
you've
scary. It's
built
scary to put yourself out there. It really is.
mm, now you've built both state and national helplines for parents and youth. Can you share a story that captures the life-changing impact of these services?
Yes. So we have actually independent research that says that 85% of the parents who call the helpline feel more positive, feel less stressed, and are able to handle more things. Because we always wanted to know, what is the impact? And so we hired independent researchers to do that, randomly pick calls, analyze the calls, also use parent researchers to validate what is a positive, what is a negative, to see what the transformation is, even on a 30-minute call. And I think that's really groundbreaking. And always looking at, even in Parents Anonymous, we look at protective factors. We know that people's mental health improves. How do we know that? We ask them questions pre and post, and we measure that. So I'm always committed to finding out what research and what don't do anything that you can't prove it makes a difference, because it's a waste. You're wasting it on me, you're wasting it on you, you're wasting it on anybody. In social services, like, well, people should be grateful it's free. All of our services are free. No, I'm not grateful to provide anything that's not evidence-based.
That is just wonderful. Oh my gosh,
Oh, and
you
the
have
thing about story about the helpline. Oh, I'm sorry, I got a little deterred. Let me go back to that for a minute. Thank you, Gertrude. So what's really amazing is people who use the helpline, even young people, are incredible advocates. So this mom rushes up, she's crying to another mom at a school meeting. She says, she's holding the helpline card for the California helpline. She's saying,
yeah.
are you associated with this group? She said, yes. Are you all right? And the woman's crying. She says, yesterday, my son was going to kill himself, And he went to the bathroom and found this card. Did you leave it in the bathroom? Now, of course, his mother did not go to the boy's bathroom. Her son, she said, my son left in the bathroom. She said, I just want to thank you. And then both mothers are crying. And this son did not commit suicide. And he called the helpline, and they have now gotten help for him. Okay.
Oh,
But
wow.
this young person who left the card now was told by his mother, you impacted somebody you don't even know. And he felt, and he had gone to Parents Anonymous groups as a young child, as a teen. And that's what we say in the giving you get in Parents Anonymous. When you reach out to another, I benefit, but I also help build community. If that reach out to you and sharing my potty training story or my issue with my kid who never would sleep helps you, great. But it helps me to build my confidence first by sharing with you. It's not about advice giving. It's about you taking from the story I'm sharing and my journey that I'm sharing with all the ups and downs. We tried this, we tried that. It didn't work. I read that. I felt frustrated, didn't sleep for weeks. And now this happened. Oh my God, I'm glad we're over that one. It may relate to you or not, but me even telling you that story and dealing with the underlying emotional issues driving my behavior is where change comes. Because just talking doesn't do it. Talking, you get emotional release. I still have to deal with what is the fear, what is the threat I have, what is the inadequacies I feel, et cetera, et cetera. So being able to, people say, oh, I just got to bounce back no matter what it is. Are you becoming, resiliency point 2 is when you bounce back, are you stronger? Have you seen the situation in a different way so you have a different approach? Not like, okay, I'm not going to bounce a check because I'm going to hold, I have a plan for this, this, and this. So that's my resiliency. So think about a tree. So the roots, you want to nurture the roots so that it gets nutrients, the rain comes so that the tree, but the wind comes, the storm comes, and the tree and the branches sway. You don't want too many branches to break. So resiliency is how can you grow the roots, not just, okay, a few branches fell off, the tree didn't die, great. We put something around it so that, it didn't die. Think about your life. But what can you put in place so that you grow stronger? That, again, as Tabor talks about, that 2.0 is this resiliency, this fragility, that you go beyond it, that the experience creates something that you then make an impact at a higher level. And that 14-year-old kid did. And he's done it over and over again because I've known him for years, and he talks about that. We have moms who are going through a divorce and just want to cry and talk. We've had parents call us who say, my child confessed to me today that the guy they like in middle school, they're 13, said he's going to kill himself if I don't have sex with him.
Oh,
the mother's horrified. She knows the other child. These two children go to school together. She knows the family, and she doesn't know what to do. Well, in California, we have something called a juvenile restraining order. So you can file a juvenile. That is very scary. We needed to talk to the mother about her feelings and talk to her about going to the police, going to the school. Nobody gets out of their school in a minute. The mom didn't know. Should I send this child to school? Should I call the other parents? No, don't call the other people. We gave her some general direction, but first we dealt with, how are you feeling with the situation? You know this young man, you know this situation. Thank goodness your daughter told you, but she took a couple of days till she got to the courage to tell her mother, right?
Mom, yeah.
So the implication for her own child's safety, and she's worried about this young boy who is threatening a girl he likes by bullying her into having sexual intercourse. So we've had people call us, they're holding a gun. We've had, this guy wanted to kill his girlfriend. He found out she was cheating on him, but he had the wherewithal to call us. Remember, we're not calling these people. I'm amazed, Gertrude, that people find this moment in a crisis or in their life, and they have to Google us. We come up and they call us. He's holding a gun in one hand. He's screaming about the girlfriend that she's not there, but he's got a teenage daughter at home. Okay. So we've had situations with guns. A young man was standing on a balcony. He stopped and called us. He was going to jump because he found out his best friend, he's 20, is having an affair with his mother.
Oh my gosh.
But he wanted to kill himself, though he had nothing to do with this affair. But again, he was so distraught. So first we had to deal with his emotional situation and then figure out if you're a trusted person who could come, he could call, who would come to him rather than sending the police or in some situations, we do have to have a wellness check because we're not on the grounds with people. We've had 6-year-olds text us. They were wetting their bed and they didn't want to tell their parents. And obviously there's something emotional going on with them wetting their bed. Could be something physically going on with them wetting their bed right at 6. Normally children don't wet their bed at 6. What are they afraid of? So we had to talk to them and try to build up this trust in a text so that they would go and talk to their parents. So we have kids who are calling us who are worried during COVID. My mom's drinking again. And she was clean and sober. And what am I going to do? Or my parents are fighting all the time because they lost their jobs. Are they getting divorced? Did I cause that? Did I do something wrong? So we get every topic you can imagine. But the fact that people, and I mean parents, children, and youth of all ages, Gertrude, feel this moment that whatever's going on, they're going to stop. They got to pull up their phone. They got to Google us. Remember, it's not blinking on their phone. They got to push the number. They saw an ad. You can click to call. They Googled us and they dialed. They dialed with their phone right then and there because they took control of their circumstances. Say, help. And the first thing we say is, thank you for calling the Parent and Youth Helpline. How can we help you today? People are like shocked. Are you really a human? This is not a bot, right? This is a real human. And that's the thing that's really scary with GBT chat all around. You've seen these lawsuits where GBT chat is acting like a therapist. It's a bot. It is not a trained, licensed, certified professional. And you've seen some of the texts of these chats. I believe in you. I care for you. They are leading these kids down a path and they've ended up killing themselves. And their parents are suing these GBT chats. So we as parents, we need to be on guard all the time. Your role is to be in your children's business in the most positive way you can and in the most clear way. You need to set boundaries for kids. You need to not say things like boys can be boys, or that's why they're saying that. Oh, they don't want to eat because they want to lose weight. No, they could be anorexic. What do you mean they're not eating? And then girls are wearing like big sweaters and you don't know they dropped 20 pounds. I mean, things are happening right under our noses. And we as parents need to be the detectives. We need to be aware all the time.
Let's finish our interview with you reflecting back. If you could go back and give yourself 3 nuggets of wisdom, just in case there's a parent who is listening online right now, what 3 nuggets of wisdom can you leave us with today?
Taking care of yourself is essential, and I mean it. What makes you happy is important, and dealing with your underlying emotional issues as a parent is key. Don't ignore them. If you need therapy, seek help. If you need to deal with your physical health, don't ignore it. It won't go away. Don't be the savior and fall on the sword. I'm going to take care of everybody else and never take care of myself. That is the biggest. That's probably more than 3 things I said in there. But taking care of yourself is essential. Also, tuning into your kids. 3-year-olds need different kind of attention than 17-year-olds, but it doesn't matter what age they are. You need to figure out how to make a connection with them so you're listening and supportive, and then you can help guide. If you go in this very authoritarian way, it shuts anybody down. No, no, no. Every little kid reacts with no, no, no back to you. And every 17-year-old says, well, you don't understand. How would you understand? No, I had struggles in high school. I know what it's like not to feel accepted. Let me share some things that have gone on with me. Now, that might not be what my child's going through, but you want to be as human as you can with your kids with appropriate boundaries. And like I said, there's nothing that you don't need to pay attention. I used to say eyes on the prize to my husband. Everything these kids are doing, we better know about. And if you don't know about it, you're going to be shocked when you find out about it, whether you think they're putting alcohol in a water bottle and going to a football game and they're replacing the alcohol in your cabinets with water. Maybe you need to check that. Kids are drinking, using drugs. They're exposed to so many things today that you don't even know about. And they're sleeping and studying in their room all these hours. And monitor their social media. You need to be on that social media. There are so many predators out there. and messaging out there that is hellacious. Well, what's your favorite podcast? Oh, I don't listen to podcasts. Well, who do you follow? Or what do you do on Instagram? Or what excites you on TikTok? Oh, watching those puppy dogs. And then watch the puppy dogs with them. Well, if they're really young, puppy dog watching, there's no problem with that. Or cats. Oh, no, I'm into war games. Really? You're into war games? Well, we know that kids who get exposed to a lot of violence
end up
doing violence.
Acts. Yeah.
And so it's a heavy lift when kids are teenagers and deciding when they can use their phone and how they can use their phone. They're still under your household. Put limits on it. Don't use your phone during dinner. Have real valuable family time. Model things with them that you want them to do. Oh, I'm waiting for a busy call at work. Okay, great. Okay, a call I got to take. Okay, great. But I'm going to spend this time with you. And if I get interrupted, I'm going to go back to spending this time with you because I don't control that. But other things I do control. And, some of the schools have done some very interesting things in California. They said you got to put your cell phone away all day. You know who complained? The parents. I want to call my kid. Your kid's supposed to be paying attention and learning in school and interacting with their peers, hopefully in a positive way. And if they're on their phone the entire time, like you go to a restaurant, what are people doing?
They're looking at their phones. Yeah.
They're not even interacting with each other. I remember going to a Father's Day lunch with my husband, and I said, look around. All those kids have tablets or they have their notes. You're supposed to be celebrating their fathers. I'm here celebrating you, honey. And our son was meeting us. Our daughter wasn't with us. And I said, I'm here celebrating you. My phone is not out. I'm here for you. We don't even see the difference. People text rather than talk. People don't even answer their phone anymore. Oh, no, just text me. You can't even leave a message. People don't listen to messages. How do you have human interaction that's just texting? Texting is fine. I'm coming home late. Can you pick me up? I'm waiting for you, etc. But I got something important to say. I want to hear your voice. I want to tell you I love you. I want to tell you I'm there for you. I want to cry with you. I want to be there in every way I can be there. And I can't do that on text.
No.
And
Lisa, I could talk to you all day. These are such important stories to share. Thank you for your work. Thank you for how you're supporting parents to look after their children and look after themselves. I think that's one big takeaway that you shared with us today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And thank you to everybody who tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast. We're a social impact movement that brings you the stories and voices of women from all over the world. We share these stories to uplift you, to inspire you, to energize you, but most importantly, to take you from where you are now to where you're trying to go. So if you are a parent who is struggling with your kids, you don't have to do this alone. Here is an organization that is supporting and helping parents to care for their kids. Reach out for help. You don't have to do it alone. Or if you know someone who is struggling, please share this podcast. Share this content with somebody else who needs the support and help. I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody, with yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And Lisa, thank you again for the interview.
And thank you to your listeners and to you for reaching out. And this is an amazing group. And I support everybody in their journey of empowerment.
Thank you, Lisa. Bye for now, everybody. Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.